The next Bible concept we're gonna talk about is from Psalms 55:22. It says, "Cast your burden on the Lord and He will sustain you." That just means that whatever problem you have, you need to cast it to God. And guess who was the best at doing this? Jesus Christ. Every time Jesus Christ performed a miracle, that's what He did first. He didn't question what he was seeing. He cast it right away to the Lord, and the Lord was just expressing Himself through him. This is nothing more than to say that you need to go from the third dimensional world, which we are right now, to the fourth dimensional world, where Jesus was operating. As soon as Jesus came down on this earth, He was operating into the fourth dimensional world. And the fourth dimensional world is nothing more than the world that is above our world. You gotta understand that we live on three planes of existence: spiritual, mental, and physical. This is the physical world. This is the last level of creation. And there are levels above it where creation actually happened, and it's in the mental and the spiritual. So, for example, when Jesus was resurrecting Lazarus was dead. In the third dimensional world, he was dead. But on the fourth dimensional world, he was alive. That's where Jesus resonated emotionally right away. He said, "Thank you, the Lord, that you always heard me." And then guess what? Lazarus, which was dead in the third dimensional world, he got raised, because in the fourth dimensional world, he was never dead. That's exactly how you need to tap into the fourth dimensional world. You do it by judging with righteous judgment. That's what the Bible is talking about. The fourth dimension is where everything is perfect. All the reality are already created. It's just gonna be up to you to choose which one. When Lazarus was dead, Jesus didn't relate to that. He was like, "Nah, I'm gonna revive him, watch." He went to the fourth dimension, boom, he got resurrected. Same as when Jesus turned the 5 loaves of bread and fish to feed 5,000. In the physical world, in the third dimensional world, there was only 5. How are you gonna feed 5,000 with 5? Doesn't make sense, right? Because it's in the third dimensional world. In the fourth dimensional world, it was already unlimited. So that's where Jesus stopped right away. And as soon as he did that, what happened? He was able to feed the 5,000. This is exactly how he was able to turn water into wine. In the third dimensional world, it was water. On the fourth dimension, he decided it was wine. So guess what? By tapping into the fourth dimension, he was able to turn wine into water. He was able to feed 5,000 with just 5 loaves of bread and fish. He was able to resurrect Lazarus from the dead. And he came down on this earth not only to be worshipped, but he came also here to teach you this. And that's what most people miss in the Bible. They say that you need to be a good person, otherwise you'll never reach heaven, not knowing that this is actually the main key what Jesus came down for, to teach you how to tweak your reality. But a lot of people are not ready to hear that, because when you go to church, like me, back when I was a kid, I really wanted to change my reality. And I spent so many years studying it, and it didn't make sense to me. They were all telling me that I'm gonna get compensated in heaven. And yes, if you have a good life, you don't really care. But when you see your family suffering, when you see your mind working tirelessly, job after job, when you see everybody around you starving, it's really hard to just accept that you're gonna be compensated in heaven. It doesn't make sense. But once you understand this information, now you start to understand what Jesus was talking about. This is why it says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added to you." The kingdom of God is within you. And the kingdom of God represents heaven. Heaven is nothing more than the fourth dimension, when everything is perfect. And you don't have to die to go to heaven. You just have to feel the right emotion, and watch, you'll be in heaven. Watch, you too will gonna be able to turn what you do not have into something. This is how you perform miracles. You resonate in the fourth dimension, not the third dimensional world. But there is a way to do it. You can just do it deliberately. Like, I'm gonna decide to go to the third dimension, and you're gonna be in the fourth dimension. There's actually a technique to do it. I will show you. But first, there's a Bible verse that you understand, and it says, "Be still and know that I'm God." The techniques is actually from this. Be still just means that you need to reach brain waves where your brain is into relaxation. closer you are to those brain waves are when you wake up and just before going to sleep. That's where you're still, and that's where you're the closest to hearing God. So the technique is basically you need to be still in order for you to hear the message of God. And the way you do it, you just sit in complete silence. I'd say at least 30 minutes. Sit in complete silence for whatever problem you have in your life. Sit in silence, close your eyes, and just do nothing for 30 minutes. That's the technique. And trust me, your emotion will calm down, and one way or another, you're gonna get the intuition from God. And that's the only way you find your intuition, by being in complete silence and doing nothing and closing your eyes for 30 minutes straight. After 30 minutes, you're either gonna feel good or you're gonna find a solution to your problem. And if it doesn't, you try again tomorrow, and then you try it again and again and again until you get that intuition, because that's the only way you're gonna be in contact with God. You cannot be in contact with God if you're always distracted, if you're watching Netflix, if you're scrolling on social media, if you're playing video games. Those, you can do those, yes, sure, but once you need to be in contact with God, once it comes to solving your problem, you need to be in complete silence for at least 30 minutes. Do nothing. That's the key. And then from there, you get the answer that you're seeking for. Remember, God's mind is infinite. So that's where you're gonna get the answer from, not from your mind, not from normal mind. So that's the technique. Remember this verse, be still and know that I'm God. This is the verse you need to remember, and this is the techniques behind it. For example, for me, there was a point of time where I only had $8 in my bank account, right? Me and my brother, we were always on the verge of getting evicted. Sometimes we wouldn't have food. Sometimes even if I work like 15 to 18 hours a day, I was still not able to make enough money. But I never decided to be disappointed about it, because every time those emotions start to cloud my mind, I would just sit in complete silence for at least an hour. When I was done bad, I was doing this for an hour. Now I can just do this like 15-20 minutes, I can go on about my day. But when I really had like problem, I was doing it for an hour, 2 hours, just to try to hear the message from God. And eventually I received it. That's exactly why I'm not broke anymore. And for you, let's say you're in a good financial situation, right? So I'm gonna take another example. Let's say you go through a breakup. What most people do when they go through breakups, they distract themselves right away. They distract themselves with other girls, they distract their way with other guys, they drink, they party, they try to forget about it, but it doesn't work like that. The thing is, like, if you ignore your problem, trust me, they're gonna come back even stronger when you're not distracted. So the way you deal with that, you sit in complete silence, you close your eyes, you give it to God, you cast your burden, you go to the third dimensional world where it's absolutely perfect. The only way you can go there, by closing your eyes and going inside within you. That's where you're gonna find God. You're not gonna find him in the sky, or in a book, or in school, or even here on YouTube. If you landed on this video, it's probably your state of consciousness that told you to come here. And this is exactly the way you cast your burden. Whatever problem you have, sit in silence with it. Don't try to fight your thoughts. There is a Bible verse that says, resist not him that is evil. Whatever you're going through, whatever type of situation, don't resist it, embrace it, immerse yourself in it. And I guarantee you, at a certain point, you will reach neutrality, because the God's mind is more powerful than any of your problem. If you put your problem above God, that's absolute disrespect. But you gotta know that God has a solution for every single one of your problems. So what you need to do is cast your burden. Immerse into the problem until it reaches neutrality. As soon as it reaches neutrality, now you're gonna be able to go to the fourth dimension where everything is perfect. But you can only reach that if you go through this process. Be still and know that I'm God. That means he's within you, and he got the solution for everything. And the only way for you to be in contact with him, you gotta reach those brainwaves. That's what I mean by be stills. You reach those brainwaves of relaxation, and those are the one close to sleep. And then eventually, you're gonna be able to go to the fourth dimension. And that's where everything is already perfect. That's where Jesus was able to perform miracles non-stop. Me personally, the way I do it, as soon as I wake up, I go to the gym, and then after the gym, that's when I do this process. And let's say you have no time during the day. I'm sure you have time in the morning. As soon as you wake up, spend at least 15 minutes thinking about your dream life. That's it. As soon as you wake up, think about dreaming. Just before you go to sleep too, don't fall asleep with your phone. Fall asleep by thinking about the reality you want, because that's when you're closest to God. And if you keep going to the fourth dimension where everything is perfect, when the reality you want already exists, eventually you're gonna get there. Eventually it will come to the third dimensional world. It's from the fourth that you took the third. I added this verse, I said it previously, that whatever you're going through, face it right away. Face it in your mind first. Give it to God. Cast your burden. And then eventually, trust me, He will get you out of it. And the problem is, if let's say something negative happened into your life and you're trying to tell yourself positive thing right away, even though the negativity is still there, it will never work. It's like a big jump. Going from negative to positive, it requires a lot of mental energy. But the way you do it, you start with the negative, something bad happened to you, and then you sit in complete silence for at least 30 minutes. During those 30 minutes, if you keep thinking about the negative, trust me, the negative will lose its power, because you gotta give it right away to God. The more you let those emotions consume you, the more you immerse yourself into the emotion, you're gonna be brought back to the central. Once you're in the middle, that's only then that you can start to think positive. Now you can start to imagine the way you want your reality to be. And that's only then that you're gonna go to the positive. And the positive is nothing more than the fourth dimension. Even if in reality nothing is showing, you still have that capability of going to the fourth dimension to alter the third dimension. That's exactly how you unstock your life. That's exactly how you go to the next level. That's exactly how you do the impossible for you. Take a screenshot, but please cut me off when you do it. I don't want to be in your phone, on your PC, or anything like that. But this board is not for me, it's for you, so that you can have a summary of what I was saying. Now, if you are just pointing this, I'm sure you understand what it means. And the thing with those type of information, you're gonna like it now, but you're gonna forget it later if you don't consistently keep remembering yourself about it. So let's go to the next point.